Good afternoon, everyone, and a very warm welcome to today's live stream reflection from St Peter Mancroft Church here in the heart of Norwich. It's a very soggy day indeed outside. A warm welcome to everyone watching online. My name's Gill Persicke. I'm the licensed lay minister, one of two in this church. And the title of today's reflection is The Modal Verbs We Live By, an odd title which may need some explanation. First of all, what are modal verbs? Well, they're those little words like can, would, might, should, words which express what your attitude or feelings are about something or other. I can probably explain most easily by giving you some examples. Let's take a very simple action. I telephone my friend Mary. I call Mary. Now, let's try adding some modal verbs to this sentence and see how things change. I can call Mary. Perhaps I'm in a meeting and we've decided that Mary really needs to know something and I'm free to do it, so I offer to make that call. I can. But if I said I could ring Mary, I probably sound a little less willing, don't I? I seem to have some kind of reservation about all this. And if I said, well, I would ring Mary, you'll get yet another message. You can hear a but coming, because in fact, I've already decided that I'm not going to ring her. I'm going to make an excuse. Or let's take a different context. I say to myself at home, oh, I should ring Mary. It would be a good idea to tell her this or that. Perhaps I haven't spoken to her for a while. I should. But if the situation is more compelling, I'd use a different modal verb. I must call Mary. I really must. I'm telling myself something more important here. Perhaps I'm even rebuking myself because I've neglected her. And you might at this point be wondering why I'm giving you what is in effect a grammar lesson in this reflection from church. Well, it's because these tiny little words, these modal verbs, have a habit of embedding themselves in our subconscious. Some of our most unexamined attitudes and habits are embodied in modal verbs. We'll start today with the word should. Now, I've been spending some time recently with a very elderly lady, and I've realised that our home lives are completely different because she has a collection of shoulds in her life which are quite simply not on my radar. So, you should never sit down to any meal without a linen napkin in a napkin ring next to your plate. You should always serve afternoon tea to a visitor in a bone china cup and saucer. Never use a mug. You should always remember to fasten your curtains back in the morning with the curtain ties. Now, all of this might sound rather amusing, a matter of etiquette, but it has, on occasion, been a source of some tension between this lady and myself. We've had to negotiate our way through these differences. So yes, some of the shoulds in our lives are certainly generational. I'm absolutely sure that teenagers nowadays have their own acceptable behaviours, their own etiquettes. I wanted to give you some examples of these, but being 70 years old myself, I haven't got a clue how teenagers behave amongst themselves nowadays, and I probably wouldn't understand even if I did. And herein lies the problem. Our own shoulds can feel so sensible, so reasonable, and other people's shoulds seem so very inexplicable. And these differences really are a potent cause of friction. There are the well-known shoulds that cause havoc when a couple first starts living together. You should always use a teaspoon to get marmalade out of the jar, not your buttery knife. You shouldn't leave the top off the toothpaste, and so on and so forth. Some of these differences hopefully get resolved, others can niggle and niggle for literally decades. And then there are the shoulds which are distinctive to different cultures. I used to teach English to foreign students, and it was really great fun watching them misunderstanding each other. An Italian student casually crosses his legs with one ankle on his opposite knee, thereby exposing the sole of his shoe. And the Arab students get really upset because what they understand is that this is a gross insult. But those same Arabs offend the Japanese students by making juicy sucking noises when they've got a cold, rather than discreetly blowing their noses into a tissue, preferably outside the room. Different cultures have such powerful shoulds and shouldn'ts. And we know that the Foreign Office and international businesses and royal advisors are careful to issue appropriate guidance to VIPs travelling abroad, so that you don't try to shake the hand of a woman in the Middle East or present a gift with your left hand. Now, I don't think a war has actually been started by people getting the shoulds and shouldn'ts wrong, but it certainly won't help if you're trying to seal a contract. And then there are the very powerful etiquettes concerned with church services. We people who've been coming to churches for years, decades, may not always notice this, but our shoulds and shouldn'ts can be very unnerving for other people. Handled insensitively, they can put people off Christianity for life. In a service, when should I stand up or sit down or kneel? Should I allow my children to run around the church? What should I do when everybody else is cheerfully hugging each other during the peace? Should I maintain a reverent kind of seriousness all the time I'm in a church? Oh, this is so uncomfortable. Thank goodness we are beginning to give people a bit more guidance in our service sheets and so forth. And congregations most of the time are learning to relax when newcomers inadvertently do something a bit differently. Jesus himself wasn't at all concerned about the shoulds and shouldn'ts of his time and culture. He delighted in mixing with the wrong people, eating at the wrong houses. Sometimes he even failed to observe the Sabbath correctly, which actually is more of a must than a should. But Jesus, of course, always did what he did for the best, most loving reasons. I think I might find myself living a bit more lovingly if I took a long, hard look at my own ingrained shoulds and shouldn'ts and tried to sit a bit more easily with them, relax when other people do differently. Though there are limits, please don't get smears of butter into my marmalade jar. Thank you for joining me today for this live stream reflection, and may I wish you every blessing for the rest of the day.